the game can see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live. Peace.
ThaBoxingvoice.com live here with Eddie Hearn.
Yes,
Matchroom Sports, Sky Sports, The Zone. We're here
nice
in Chicago.
place, isn't it? Beautiful,
We're here in Chicago and looking good. They're treating your fighters all as
really
A-side. So is Jesse Vargas the official headline?
Yeah, he
Not
is.
Big Baby?
No, we got 4 big championship fights, and I think one of the things we want to do on DAZN, which we do in the UK, is make sure these cards are nice and stacked. You will see shows where there's a bigger main event and not so stacked on the card, but this particular show, you know, you got Danny Roman against Gavin McDonald for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. You got Artur Beterbiev against Callum Johnson for the IBF World Light Heavyweight Championship. You got Big Baby Miller against Thomas Adamek, and you got Jesse Vargas against Thomas Delorme. So yeah, it's a sign of things to come, and we want to make sure that we're delivering, and that's not including probably the other 4 or 5 fights on the card that'll all be shown live on DAZN.
Any difficulties in getting this card together? Obviously, you've received a bit of criticism because of the matchups, but this is not different from a toe-to-toe Tuesdays with PBC, or even some of PBC's fights around the same level.
Yeah, I don't think the cards are quite as stacked. You know, with like 4, you know, big championship fights, 2 world championship fights as well. The only criticism we've had really is the Thomas Adamek fight with Gerald Miller, which come from ESPN, which come from Dan Raphael. And at the end of the day, what is it, number 7 in BoxRec against number 15? We're in Chicago. It's one of the biggest Polish communities in the world. Thomas Adamek is a Polish god. So that fight commercially makes sense.
I was hearing Spielka was the target.
We offered Spielka the fight. It didn't work out. And then Adamek come on and said, why are you offering Spielka the fight? I'm more higher ranked than Spielka. You know, I'm coming off 2 wins. Why not me? And I looked at it, watched his last couple of performances. And Gerald Miller, he's still got some work to do. You know, I mean, this is a fight where Gerald Miller needs to come in and be devastating and knock Adamek clean out. And Adamek, I spoke to him earlier, like he came here, he had one of the great fights in Chicago here before. And, you know, he talks about when he was sent to fight Chris Arreola in Canada and stuff like that. He's up for it. But Miller's a big favourite. But, you know, Dan Raphael feels like it's a mismatch. We'll see on the night.
And for Jesse Vargas, was Granados not an option?
Was, yeah.
He's from Illinois?
We made a big offer to Granados, and he wanted to stay at 140. Yeah, to be fair to him, like, it wasn't necessarily the money. It was, you know, look, I've been at 147. It's hard work for me. Like, he knows Jesse Vargas. They've been in the amateurs together. He knows it's a tough fight for him. And I was surprised that he turned it down, to be honest with you. But he'd made a decision with his family that he wanted to make a run at 140. So he may still be on the show, actually.
This is interesting. Maybe this helps you alleviate some of that criticism, because you tried to get better opponents that, you know.
Well, I think Thomas Delorme is a better opponent than
better.
Granados. Granados is suited more to this event. But Delorme is a tough opponent. I mean, if you look at his Ugas fight, I had him winning that fight, as did many. He's got a defeat to Terence Crawford. We know that he's a world-class fighter. He's Puerto Rican. Again, 2 of the biggest communities in Chicago is Mexico and Puerto Rico. So we have that as a main event. Jesse is, you know, a proven welterweight world champion, but I still feel like Vargas Delorme is a very competitive fight. And, you know, it's nice to work with people. Like, Jesse Vargas is walking on water right now. You know, this is probably the first time where he's felt super special. You know, he's had to sometimes come out and take fights as, I think, B-sides a little bit harsh, because, you know, he fought Broner, felt like he won that fight. Fought Pacquiao, obviously you're going to be the B-side to Pacquiao. And now he feels like a star, and sometimes that can bring a lot out in a fighter. You know, a lot of people don't feel like they're getting the promotion, the treatment that they can, and they should. And sometimes when you get that, you perform better. It doesn't matter whether you're a boxer, it might just be in a normal job. If you feel good about your job, you're going to do a better job. And I think that Jesse, now listen, I'll make no secrets, the fight we want is Jesse Vargas against Mikey Garcia. That's the one that I want to make, and I want to make that for next March. And, you know, we'll see if he can get the win in October and move on to that fight.
Oh man, I didn't want to switch into regular topics. I want to stick on the zone for a little bit, but that is an interesting topic with Mikey and Jesse. Now, you said that you feel Delorme's better suited because of resume, but a lot of people had Granados winning that Broner fight, so and then Sean Porter couldn't even knock him out.
Yeah, he's very tough. I mean, he's one of those guys that, on paper, to the casual fan, his record looks poor, but he's always in good fights. What is he, like 16-7 or something like that? So I think that Granados and Delorme are quite similar in ability. Delorme is bigger, like he's more of a welterweight than Granados. Similar kind of fights. Like I said, Granados was our first choice. So, you know, that's how it is. But he didn't want the fight, and you know, we move on. Jesse wants to make a statement against Delorme and move into some major fights, whether that's a Pacquiao rematch, whether that's Mikey Garcia, or whether that's Adrian Broner. They're the fights that we're going to be looking to bring, and you know, he feels good about himself.
And the Delorme, is he a B-side that you're using his services, or is he signed to Matchroom?
He's got options to work with us in the future as well. So again, for him, he's like, perfect. I can't tell you thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to win this fight.
He's like, no longer with TNT.
Mayweather. No, he's not with Mayweather anymore. But he's like, I'm going to win this. Then you know, he wants. Listen, if he can beat Jesse Vargas, his name goes into the mix for all the fights we talked about as well. So, I think it's an interesting matchup. I think you're going to get a great fight. You get a big Mexican fan base. You're going to get a big Puerto Rican fan base here as well. So I'm happy with it.
Well, let's segue into the Mikey Garcia thing, because obviously it's attached to Delorme and Jesse winning or losing. I had to sit down with Espinoza. I hope you at least watched it, but he's saying that there's no chance that DAZN and Showtime ever do business together. Like he said, you know, the network and the streaming app, it'll never happen, was his words. And I was talking about a bigger fight, obviously the Wilder and Joshua fight, but he's saying that he was told Povetkin is a one-fight deal, but we don't want to talk about Joshua. We want to talk about Eddie making fights with other networks. Is that possible, or is Espinoza just, you know, drawing a line in the sand?
I think that Showtime are in a very difficult position because I think they've run out of money, and not as a business, but as in terms of boxing, what they've been spending.
Boxing budget.
And I think the only way out is to create pay-per-view events, but they haven't really got any pay-per-view events. I mean, subject to Joshua, Wilder, Fury perhaps. But I don't see right now that Garcia against Errol Spence is a major pay-per-view event. It's a brilliant fight, don't get me wrong. But how many buys is it going to do? 100? I don't know. But you can't be gambling around that number. Like, that fight needs to do 300 or 400 to pay the guys what they need to be paid. I could pay them both now what 400,000 pay-per-view buys could generate.
Stop right there, because Eddie's... Espinoza said, why is it that if we send a $50 million offer to Anthony Joshua, the world questions it, but Eddie says he wants to pay $8 million or these absurd numbers for certain fights, and no one questions it. So
well,
here
it's not $50 million, but more importantly, and I know we'll get into our Wilder stuff later, they never made an offer.
No, I don't want to talk about that. I'm just saying...
but no one questions it. The money's there. The money's there. We have the investment. It's there. So, but it doesn't mean that... Oh, would we pay $8 million to Garcia and $8 million to Spence? Maybe, but maybe not. But that's the level that we're operating at. But that's why we're so dangerous at the moment. And what I'm saying to you is that Showtime have, like, Mikey Garcia is a very smart businessman. Mikey Garcia, and he may not like to hear this, but he's currently overpaid in terms of what money is in the pot from broadcaster and crowd, right? But I'm going to pay him even more. So I'm going to overpay him even further, right? But we can do that because we're in a position to do that at the moment. It's not great for a long-term business plan, but we appreciate where we're at. We're a new broadcaster, we're a new platform. We're having to overpay guys. We're giving guys on this card career high paydays for fights where they've had much, much tougher fights. But it's the start of that process. So we want Jesse Vargas to turn around to other fighters and go, when they say to him, how is it with Eddie Hearn in DAZN? And he goes, it's the best thing I've ever done. Right? That's the kind of response we want from fighters. Now, when you talk about Mikey Garcia is a real interesting cat because he's a competitor, right? He shouldn't fight Errol Spence yet.
No.
He should wait. Like, he should keep doing what he's doing. Maybe take. That's why I think the Jesse Vargas is a great fight. If he does want to move to welterweight, there's a good challenge for him at welterweight. But he has it in his head that he wants to fight Errol Spence, right?
Well, his thing is more about challenges,
which is great for boxing.
So based off your conversations, though, obviously you don't have those challenges in the zone just yet.
Well, I disagree. I mean, you have Maurice Hooker, the WBO light welterweight champion. You have Jesse Vargas. No, we don't have Errol Spence, but we also have the budgets to make those we don't have to have those fighters. If Mikey Garcia was to sign with us, we can still pick and choose who we want. If he wants Maurice Hooker, if he wants Jesse Vargas, we could go to Golden Boy and ask for Jorge Linares. I think it's a good fight for him. You know, so you're not restricted because you've got the budget to pay these opponents what you need. And when you go to a Golden Boy or you go to even a top rank, there's always a number. We saw it with Frank Warren and Billy Joe Saunders, where they have to go, okay. So Mikey Garcia can fight who he wants. My thing is, he should build towards the Errol Spence fight in 2019, perhaps having a fight at 147 first, build the narrative of that fight, and listen, if that ends up being on Showtime, it will be 3 or 4 times bigger in 12 months' time than it is now. Because Mikey Garcia is an exceptional talent, as is Errol Spence. So I just feel like it's way too early, but with Showtime's financial position and the rumours that I'm hearing, whether they're right or not, they're not in trouble as a business. But all I'm saying is, boxing-wise, they've spent a lot of money, and I don't think they have a lot left in the remainder of the year. Their only option is to go to fights like Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia and say, okay, we'll roll it out on pay-per-view. But Mikey Garcia is not an idiot. Mikey Garcia is going to turn around and go, so what's my guarantee?
I was going to ask, what's your educated guess? Do they do a guarantee or do they get a split off the back end?
No, but the split's no good. Split's no good. Look at Kovalev against Ward.
190.
One guy, right, less than that I think, one guy had a split.
Yeah, he
and the
got
other one,
6.5
and the other one had
exactly,
exactly, and he was probably 4 times less. Mikey Garcia would never ever take that fight on a split, and nor should Errol Spence. They won't. So what they should be doing is, no problem, we'll take a split against a $5 million guarantee each. Ain't happening. So it's interesting. And when you talk
Let me get your educated guess on how much you think Mikey wants for an Errol fight, being as though the barometer is Keith and Danny got $2 million on paper. I know you like to back end or get less.
It's been proven, yeah.
On paper, Keith and Danny got 2 to meet each other, same weight division, unification. Mikey's coming up 2 divisions to face the boogeyman. How much is he expecting?
I think he should get an absolute minimum of $6 million.
$6 million, $4 million more than Danny and Keith in the unification.
But I don't believe that was the number. Yeah, I think.
Oh, you believe
but you
that
have to.
more.
But you have to. Mikey Garcia is one of the highest paid fighters in world boxing, outside of Canelo, AJ, Golovkin, because he's in those kind of fight. You know, like there's not many others that are paid $3 million plus for fighting fairly standard fights. So if you're getting $3 million or you're being offered $4 million for a standard fight, how much are you going to get for the Errol Spence fight? It's like you being in a job for $50,000 a year, me going to you and going, do you want a job that's 5 times harder? I'll give you $70,000. You'll
listen,
go, no.
I hear you. I don't think anyone knew he was getting $3 million for these regular fights.
Yeah, he is, yeah. He's definitely the highest paid PBC guy.
Well, you said you would possibly, it wasn't written in stone, but you said possibly you can do 8 and 8, right?
No, I think that there's a deal to be done. There would be, from our side, there would be, we're not a pay-per-view.
Because I got a bigger name for you. I just came from another camp.
Yeah?
Actually, I got a few names that are saying he hasn't called me.
No, I haven't. But a lot of people, one of them might be Keith Thurman.
No, right? I haven't spoken to him.
But he's like, Keith Thurman's one of those guys where he says, apparently, Eddie Hearn signing Keith Thurman. I've never had one conversation with Keith Thurman. Never made him an offer. Errol Spence, never made him an offer. I'll tell you, like, one thing you have to get to know about me is, I won't lie to you, I'll tell you the truth. You can ask me who I've approached, I'll tell you straight up. Like, some have said no, some have said maybe, some have said yes, some are ongoing. But everything that we do is a statement of progression. So like, today, the one in New York, the artwork, the posters, the fighters, everything, once we're rolling, and when you look at, I keep saying this to people, let's look at DAZN as a product, okay, and an offering, okay? The first month on DAZN is free. Then it's $9.99 a month. Let's look at that first month. September the 22nd, Anthony Joshua against Povetkin, Campbell against Mendy, Coley against Askin, etc., etc. You got the World Boxing Super Series the week after. You've got the Bellator event the week after. October the 6th, you've got our event here. October the 13th or the 12th, you've got another Bellator. You've got the World Boxing Super Series, and you've got our event from Newcastle in the UK. The week after that, you've got the World Boxing Super Series, and you've got Billy Joe Saunders against Andrade for the World Middleweight Championship. That's the first month, right? Which is free, by the way. So I'm not being funny. Like, this is value. You're talking about $10 for a standard month. If that was the month you had to pay, you'd be paying about 80 cents per show or per event. It's absolute peanuts. So I believe in this, and I believe in the products that we've got, and they're going to get better and bigger, and the fighters are going to come and come and come and come. We know that it's going to take time. We know that everyone's blocking us. We know that Espinosa will be stepping up. I'll give you more. No, we'll do this, we'll do this. Like Mikey Garcia right now will be looking at our offer going, wow, okay, I want to talk to Showtime. Right, what are you going to offer me? And they're going to be scrambling. Like, if they lose Mikey Garcia to us, this is bad news, you know, for them. But what great news for a fighter. I mean, what a great time to be a fighter. Where now you've got us, HBO, Showtime, ESPN. I mean, this is brilliant for boxing. And the fans are going to be winning because everyone is trying so hard to win. Not just the fighters, but the promoters. So the content's going to get better. The fights are going to get better. That means there's more to talk about for you, more views for you. So everybody should be embracing this era.
But they're not. I don't understand why. Like, it's getting the same kind of criticism that PBC got in the beginning.
Yeah, but that's okay. But look at let's look at what PBC have done, right? For all the criticism, and listen, I think they've wasted money. I think that some things that'll be probably the same as us. But they are putting on good fights. The PBC is a good brand. Al Heyman is a very bright guy, you know, and like everybody, you can't ignore the qualities of some people. A lot of people have got bad points, right? Al Heyman's got bad points. He's also a very bright man, right? I've got bad points. I'm also a great salesman. Don King had loads of bad points. He was probably one of the best promoters of all time, right? So, but I think one of the problems with boxing is it can make you so bitter that you can't. I just feel like in life you should be, and I truly mean this, I want you to succeed. Like, not because I want your, I just, like for you, like if you're out there, you're flying to Chicago, you're putting the hours in, I hope you make it. I hope your site becomes really successful. Your show, your radio show, and like, I never look at you, even despite our sort of, and go, that guy, I'm gonna fucking ruin that guy. I hope his show just crashes, and but that is a lot of people in boxing, and maybe one day I'll be like that. I hope I'm not, but I see it every day. Don't sign with Hearn. Don't do that. Why not listen to what Hearn's got to say? And if it's right for your career, like look at Jesse Vargas. He's a great example. You know, he made the jump, and I'll be eternally grateful for that. Others might be scared or are being told not to. He looked at it bright enough to say, do you know what? That's good for me. So he's going to reap the rewards. But everybody's different. It might not be right for someone else, you know? But there's not enough people in boxing that go, like people in boxing should be turning around and going, fucking hell, DAZN, all that money being injected into the sport of boxing, that is great for our sport. Because I look at it and I go, it's great for our sport, not just for me and DAZN, but for Showtime have to put more money in. HBO, you either step up or you get out. They will step up because they're not just going to leave. Yeah, Top Rank, good company, aggressive, money from ESPN. Great, yeah, but why do you think they extended their deal? Because ESPN probably looked at DAZN and thought, whoa, this is all we want to lock Top Rank down. Great for Top Rank. I don't look at Top Rank and go, damn, they got a new 7-year extension. I go, good luck, well done. But that's my mentality. And maybe that will change. Maybe I'm just 8 years in a game and just a bit of a puppy and want people to succeed. And in 10 years, I'll be sitting there with my, you know, what are they called? Witch doll or whatever it is, sticking needles in it. Yeah.
Sticking needles.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about another fighter. Like I said, I've been asking everybody about this DAZN thing and would they be willing to take the jump. I was in Philadelphia yesterday with Danny Garcia and Angel Garcia. Anthony Yard was there visiting.
Yeah.
I got to talk to all of them, and I spoke to Angel. His first reaction was, I paid $8,000 for a 90-inch TV. No way I'm fighting or watching a fight on this little thing. I explained, look, you can stream it.
You know it is on TV as well, though. Like,
of course.
It's on a screen.
I
you can still watch
it. Stream it.
Yeah, but that's the older generation that doesn't.
And that's the words he used.
But the thing is I'm nearly 40, right? I'm not. I've only just joined Netflix, right?
Wow.
But I'm like, now I'm like, How have I not had this? I'm not watching anything else. So this is the future.
It is.
Kids, let's look at the millennials and the kid like 20s, teens, mid-20s, late 20s. This is natural for them. You know what I mean?
They cut the cord a long time ago
exactly.
on cable.
I know. So, but for people like Angel Garcia and for my dad, like, they can't really, you know, I mean...
Well, he's not pessimistic. He said, you know, he didn't receive a call. Danny definitely said, and his words are on my video, $10 million for the Spence fight, and that he hasn't received the call from you, and he's willing to.
Oh, he wants $10 million for the Spence fight.
$10 million for the Spence fight.
Okay.
But if you're giving
only,
Mikey 8,
only 10.
But you're giving Mikey 8 willingly.
I see Mikey's a bit. I didn't say I'd give him 8. I said I'd give him 6.
I'm gonna have to press rewind.
I probably would give him 8 million. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that would be.
And how is Danny not a bigger star? Multiple division champion, unified, does more. This is my thing with the Mikey. He's only done 690 something thousand views. How is that even? Like, I don't understand where all this.
Yeah, but he's making more money at the moment than Danny. I loved. I don't know if it was your interview or it was someone's interview with like Sean Porter's dad. And the problem is with Showtime and this pay-per-view, where it's like, but Showtime are going to get themselves, spot on. Because now, Sean Porter goes, no problem, Errol Spence against Mikey Garcia pay-per-view. Just know one thing, when we beat Danny Garcia, don't come to me without a pay-per-view offer for Sean Porter against
Ken
Errol
Porter
Spence.
said, they never called me with an Errol Spence pay-per-view, but they called Mikey. If they call me with an Errol Spence pay-per-view,
but you have to understand, Sean Porter is not perceived to be a star like Mikey Garcia to Showtime. Sean Porter is, and I have an unbelievable amount of respect for Sean Porter because he was on the verge. Well, he was a B-side for a while, wasn't he? But he's fought his way back to maybe not A-side like against those guys, but he's. And I think Kenny Porter is bright enough to know that they haven't treated him well, in my opinion. They've treated him as an opponent.
He's always been the B-side.
And the problem is, when you do that to someone, if you win against Danny Garcia and become WBC champion, Kenny Porter may turn around and go, okay, everybody, the doors are open. And that's when it's going to be very difficult. I really like Danny Garcia and I really like Angel Garcia. I think they're great characters and great people. $10 million is going to be very interesting, for sure. But what's Errol Spence making in all of this? I don't know. I
don't know, but let's stick to that because we keep talking about Mikey and what Showtime believes. So is your opinion that Showtime believes Mikey will get the win over Earl? Because I don't see that happening at all. So why put them together?
I don't think they want to put them together. And I think it's difficult for them to put together. I think in all the stuff I've seen from Espinosa, he sort of said, if both guys want it, like, yeah, but he hasn't said, wow, that's a great fight, we can't wait to put that together. He sort of said, I don't think that's, like, he's saying Mikey's mad to take that fight. But again, this is what I'm saying to Mikey, if you want to go to 147,
but he said he doesn't want meaningless fights. So now Robert Garcia, his brother, says that the reason Mikey is doing this is because if he wins versus Earl, it's in their opinion, they feel it's automatic that they get to at least the Canelo versus Liam Smith level, where they could sell 325,000 with a Liam Smith type of opponent after they beat Errol Spence. Do you see that possible?
I think that pay-per-view in America is incredibly risky as a fighter, because I've seen too many great fighters on pay-per-view do zero numbers. I mean, not being funny, but Kovalev-Ward was a great fight at the time. I'm not saying they got the max out of it in terms of promotional, but like for that to do less than 200,000 buys, I mean that
190.
Yeah, but so what are you going to do when Spence against Garcia does 90,000 buys? Or I mean, it certainly ain't doing more than 200. No way, right? So
Marquez Bradley did 225, and Marquez won Baby Bull.
Yeah.
They did 200, and Liam Smith with Canelo did 325.
Canelo's massive. You know,
Canelo's massive.
Yeah.
But if we put them in Texas, maybe.
I wouldn't like to risk it. I wouldn't like to risk in a fight like that without the guarantees. Listen, if Showtime want to guarantee the money, they should. Then I don't blame them for taking it. But no way on let's split it up the show, and what it does, you get, and then you walk out of the fight with the same money you've just made to fight Robert Easter. You know?
All right,
interesting times. As I said, I go back to great times for the fighters.
Yes.
You talk about 10 million, 8 million, 6 million. I mean,
never heard that.
You know, so
that's
good. Good for them.
Amount.
Good for them.
What is up, TBV family? Yes, YouTube has been cutting funding to their channels as of late, and with net neutrality, going through its process. The internet is changing. If you want to keep your favorite channel intact, coming up with tons of content, and plus get hours and hours of extra content, head over to patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice to become a member of the TBV family and help support the channel. Peace.